Okay, you're live.
Not that interesting.
All right, sir, you all ready? All right. All right, folks, thanks for attending the Osnaburg Township Trustee meeting on July 11th, 2022. We're going to call a meeting to order at 7:32. Could you please stand for pledge the flag? Short devotion. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this time we could gather. Father, we just ask that you look over all the residents of the township and all the staff as well. And we just ask that the things that happen in this room can better the township and the people in it. It's in your name. Amen. All right, any changes to the agenda? Okay,
Nothing for me.
I don't either, so. Anything else, Ms. Larry?
No, just have a little bit more if I got any, but I think I'm okay.
Sounds great. All right, approval of the minutes for 6:27.
Trustee Pure moves to accept them as presented.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, approval of treasurer's report.
Trustee Griffith recommends we approve the treasurer's report as
Trustee
presented.
Trustee Pure, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, let me give that to you.
Thank you. There you go. All right, moving along to public speaks. Thanks for coming tonight, folks. Mr. Larson, you're up first.
I'd rather sit.
You can sit, that's fine, you can sit right there. I have you down for a public speak, so you're allowed to address the trustees.
Oh, I'm just wondering how everything's going for you, since you sent me a certified letter to see if everything's okay.
You moved the camper back, so that cleared that up, and I see you mowed. We just need you to keep cleaning up the trash and stuff around there.
I think we cleaned up most of the trash.
And I saw that quite a bit of it got cleaned up. I noticed when I drive by, though, sometimes there's trash sitting in the driveway.
Oh, yeah. People come and go, and things come and go. It's been going on for a while now. I just want to make sure everything's okay. You're not gonna send me another certified letter for a while, right?
Well, and just as a point of reference that we can't have residents living in campers. That's against our zoning. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of folks, there are a lot of places around us that do the exact same thing. It's a sanitary issue. And so if we find that someone's living in the camper and coming and going, we're gonna have to get back in touch with you again.
Something I just have to have right now, because a lot of the stuff that, the clean out and everything else he's doing, I'm not doing. And I really can't do that much. And that's a kind of a problem, and he has to have a place to stay, he has no place to live.
Sure.
Where do you live?
I mean, pardon?
Where do you live?
He lives in the camper,
No, where do you live?
I live in my house.
It's on the property,
The one on Indian Run there.
Pardon?
You live in the house on that Indian Run there?
the whole property out there, there's five.
And she lives in the house too.
And the way the plots are, there's three, there's
I think
lots
you
of
need to
them,
speak.
basically we're only living on the one section of the property. But the camper's on the same area that we are, it's the house and then the garage and then the camper, we moved it back, he moved back over last week.
Ma'am, are you Beth? Are you Beth, ma'am? Beth, okay.
Yes.
Because we're recording all this, so I'm gonna make a note of it.
Technically, my mother would be done with this, but she's not here.
If you
We're
still
having
can't
trouble
live,
hearing.
you still can't live in the camper.
I don't
I
understand.
have to do something, I can't do the work.
Because inside the house.
Yeah, that's not our
I can't
choice.
do the stuff.
I don't understand why not. I can't live in the campers on the property, it's honestly like.
Is it hooked to a septic system?
Well, I can tell him he lives in the house and then I'll
Yeah,
settle
it's
it. It's a
There's a
4-bedroom
septic
house.
tank on it, but it's not hooked up to septic where it's going to the ground, if that's what you want to know. It's technically, it
It's got a
really,
portable
yes,
type
you don't
tank.
usually, you're not really using any, like it needs cleaned up and whatnot, but really I don't understand why it can't go in the case place. It's better than that, than have a trailer, because it can move the camper once, some, the whole property, what I want to do with the whole property is turn it into a farm, but I don't think I'm gonna get to.
So you gotta tell me what I can do, what I can't do. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't have a choice right now. And I don't think he has a choice, because he has no place to live. He's homeless. He was living in his car for a period. How long were you living in your car?
6 months.
6
The
months.
house is kind of like. it's
So
not-
I took him in and put him in the camper.
It just needs cleaned up, it's just hard to live in. There's just.
What do you think would happen if you put that camper in the middle of the road?
I can't.
What do you think would happen if you parked that camper in the middle of the road?
It'd be firewood.
Middle of the road.
Yeah,
Oh, I
seriously,
can
what
put
do
it
you
in
what do you
back,
think
you
would
can
happen?
Get to it. It's not a
Somebody would
problem.
come and
I have
take it
like
away.
1,000
We are
feet. I have
bound by
1,000
laws,
I
we
have
have to
1,000
follow.
feet, I can go back, you'll never even see the camper.
It doesn't matter, we still have zoning and
never even
rules and
know it's there.
regulations that we have to
It's
go
not
by.
even a problem doing that.
What's the issue with it exactly? I mean, it's got the septic hooked
I mean,
up.
if
It
that's
has to
what
be
you
on
guys
a
wanna
block
do, then
foundation.
Go ahead and do it. If that's what you feel you should do. I don't really want the camper. If you put it in the middle of the road, you can go and take it away and take it to the scrap.
I'm just saying, I'm just making a point that
I
it's, we
understand.
don't have any choice here. It's not like we can't govern on one property to the next. We have to follow what our rules are.
Okay, so the only issue is now technically is it has to be on block foundation.
You put it on block foundation into a septic through the health department and it'll be fine.
To be able to live in the camper too, it has to be approved by, the Board of Zoning Appeals, which they have a meeting next month. So we would need, paperwork filled out for that to happen.
See, right now, we don't have any water going to it. All he's doing is living there. He's not really using any of the facilities. So that's the only thing that's going on.
They can, is it possible for them to apply through the zoning appeals for a hardship case?
Yeah.
That is possible.
Pardon? I don't understand.
Yeah, in the past, we've been able to apply for a hardship case, and this would be that. You'd apply through our zoning appeals, and they would give you a temporary permit or a variance, if you were, to have someone stay in the camper. And if we have that, then we can do that for that period of time. But it's not forever. It's a
It's a
short, it's a
specified
specified
Well,
period
he's
of
not,
time.
he's not forever either. I mean,
Understood,
he's
understood.
just going through-
But if we could get that paperwork filled out and go through our channels, then we're doing our job. And then they would be the ones that would approve it, deny it, and they would ask some specific questions. They would give it a time, they would give it a date, and then it comes back to us for approval. Is that correct?
No,
That
once
doesn't,
they approve, the BCA approves it.
Yeah.
it's,
It doesn't
come
okay,
through us.
doesn't come back to us. I apologize. So that may be the next step, is to get that paperwork filled out for a hardship case. That's happened in the past, that people lived in campers, because of a hardship, and that sounds like what this is. Obviously, there's a concern with the water and the septic and all that kind of thing. Let's start with the hardship case and see where we are and see if we get the paperwork filled out and start there. I think that's a good way to start.
Well, you can always move into the house. I mean, it's a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
You will have to pay for a hearing and
I get it.
you have to pay for a hearing
Pay
and
for a hearing.
they'll notify everybody
Hey,
surrounding.
The fee's $175.
As long as it's not too much money.
Yeah.
Well,
They have a public hearing and then anybody that lives within a certain distance will be invited to come if they would like to express their opinion. I'm just letting you know how it
How
works.
far?
It's
Any properties that are touching your property.
any adjacent property line owners.
Yeah.
So
So it's your neighbor, basically.
just your neighbor.
I don't have any problem,
Actually,
pretty much.
But whatever the property line touches, whoever that person may be.
Well, I got a farm right next to me. He's got 70 acres.
So Parker's would be probably to the south. And then I don't know who's to
he
the,
probably has two.
north.
The corner.
Well, there's somebody who lives up on Maplewood. He owns like 5 acres right there.
okay.
But it's just like a lot, he doesn't have any.
Yeah, and he'll be, even if it's a lot, no house, that person will still get a letter.
The same thing right next to me, it's just a lot.
Now, Mr. Larson, do you own the house that's further down the road from you, or is yours the house and the barn? House and the barn, is that it? Or do you have the house?
That's it.
Okay, because there's a house further down.
What are you planning on doing with that house?
It's a good question. That's on my list today to talk about.
Because
We
they're
had-
not cutting any grass, and
we had-
they've been having that for like 5 years, and it's been empty.
Front door's been hanging wide open.
It's
Are they
bank
gonna tear it
owned.
down, or is it you even know who the owners are?
But we believe it's bank
It's
owned, but we have to look into that.
So the bank's gonna have to come
The
in.
bank's gonna have to come take it down. It's
Well,
been empty for a long
The
time.
grass too.
Well, we will.
We're on that one too, Mr. Larson. We're on that one too. Yep, we're on that one too. But yes, you're right. The front doors been hanging wide open for a couple of
At
years.
least they should cut the grass though.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
You should go out there and cut it for them.
Absolutely. That's right. So can we somehow get the paperwork to Mr. Larson for that? Can we send it to him or,
I can run back and get it right now.
okay, if you want to grab it, that'd be great. I think that's the right thing to do to start with. And then we'll let that committee of folks get together and hear the hardship case, and then we'll go from there.
Now, if we say that he lives in the house and not on the trailer, but he uses the trailer, is that acceptable?
That's a good question.
I guess define using it.
Pardon?
Define using it.
I can't understand.
Define, what do you mean by using it?
You keep my things in there.
Yeah, he plays his music in there, that's about
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I would say that if you think about somebody that owns a camper and goes camping, and when they get home, they clean their camper out and they're in it, and they're moving in, the kids spend the night in it in the driveway. That's a very short-term use of a camper. You know, that usually no one really complains
What
about.
if we put the camper behind the garage too? So it's not viewable anymore.
I would say that we will still know. The community's not gonna call if you can't see it.
Well, there's no community, I only have one neighbor.
Yeah, no, the community's call, I mean, we get phone calls. We get phone
Oh, I
calls.
bet you do.
We do. We do. We do.
So this is the paperwork that would need to go down, just fill out as
And when do I need to give it to you by?
you can. As soon as you can.
Are you in your, where are we seeing?
She's required some publication time. Mary, what's your publication?
It's a publicize it.
We are required to publicize it 10 days before the hearing. So
And you
that
have to
means
have how much time to mail your letters to your,
Same.
Otherwise, we'll
days.
just have him just move into the house and that's not a problem then.
Yeah, you're right. That would solve that.
It's
Just-
not gonna be done.
Just for clarity real quick, so I have the, Beth, is your last name Baird?
Bird.
Bird with an I? Got it.
No, with a Y.
Oh, sorry. Yep. B-Y-R-D. Got it. Thank you. And then, sir, what's your first name? I'm sorry.
Derek,
Derek. Got it. Is it Bailey?
Yeah.
Perfect. Just gonna make a note here. All right. Thank you, bud.
Take my mother's last name.
Derek.
Okay, are we done?
Yep.
Okay, you guys have a good day.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank you.
thank you. I can't get the name of the computer.
Oh.
Brandy couldn't get his either.
It's 7:26, 27. Oh, I need to click out of this and go into a different one. Okay. All right. Seeing there's no more public speaks, I have something to add to the zoning report about that property once we get there, but we won't do that now. Moving on. I'll try to bring this up here. All right. Just before I forget, how many, was he on it? He was on his third certified letter.
That was in
Or he was on his third.
4th.
Okay, all right. And you've got something on there, on your agenda for that, so we'll get it when we get there. Okay, moving along, fire report.
All right, we've, as you can see, we had 33 calls since the last meeting, 20 ALS calls and 5 fire calls. We received each way from 2 agencies for the 2 MVAs we had, one being on Route 44, and the other one being on Route 30. 2 calls for Canton Township. One was for a car fire, and one was personnel to drive our personnel to the hospital. We had 1 mutual aid from Louisville and 2 Nimishon Township for a tanker assist that we were disregarded before we even left the station.
Got it. Okay. All right. Your name's on the first part of this agenda, which I'll handle when we get to the end, so we can jump down there to Tyler.
Okay, Tyler, yes, we would like to hire Tyler Palm as a firefighter paramedic. We've interviewed him and feel that he'd be a good fit.
Is this the one that Amy talked about last meeting?
No, this is a different one.
Yeah, this is a different Tyler. That was Tyler HILLVALE.
Okay.
McElvain, that's right, McElvain.
So
Yeah,
tell
this
us
is Tyler
about
Palm.
Tyler Palm then.
So Tyler Palm's a Kansas City firefighter, and he's also currently employed part-time with Nimishon Township. He lives in the village of East Canton. He wants to leave Nimishon Township and join the Osnaburg Township Fire Department,
Okay.
just for the close proximity.
Great. You said his full is Canton City,
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
and he's right now working part for NIM.
That's correct.
Okay, great.
He has approached us and wanted to leave Nimishon.
Okay.
You guys are doing something right.
Yeah, we are.
Already last year, everybody didn't tell me to leave.
They were all running away from us. Now they're running to us. Tom, do you know where our number is right now? Full, was it 6? Is it 16? We had 16
I think we
before.
wanted to get to 18 or something.
Yeah.
Is what,
Correct.
we were at 16 with
That's fine.
McElvain,
We were at 16 with
I
McElvain.
think.
I think we were 16 with McElvain. So this would be 7.
But I thought there was
We
one
have,
gonna go.
we have one on leave.
Yeah,
So I thought I put it back down to 15.
I think you're right.
Well, and the 2, the
So
leave,
this would make sense.
Amy's not sure about the leave yet, so,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
So we're looking to get the crew to at least 18.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be great.
I'll make a motion that we hire Tyler Palm, and that is an effective date as of when? He hasn't been working yet, correct?
He has not worked.
What would work for you, fiscal officer, then? When do you plan on scheduling him?
Well, we'd have to get him in, and he would like work in training, start getting
We can put
trained
it
on
on
our.
10.
10?
Yeah,
There you go.
because that's the start of the next page. for the
Okay,
10th.
so we'll approve the hiring of him as of July 10th.
Trustee Puro, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So you're free to bring him on whenever then.
He's coming in, Assistant Chief Ruskin, he's coming in as a EMT firefighter,
Firefighter paramedic.
paramedic. So
Yes, he is an EMT paramedic.
it's 15, I'm gonna make sure I get the dollar amount on his wage
Okay,
and that resolution.
gotcha.
16. For paramedic, I believe.
Do you think we have stuff to outfit him with or not?
Hope he's the right size. Please be the right size.
Well, we're still waiting on new gear, and when we
That
get
ain't
new
gonna
gear,
happen this year. I don't think. I think
we're
the
waiting
wait
to
time.
receive.
Yeah,
New gear
Yeah,
that's already been
But I
It's already
think
been ordered.
Amy said the delay on it, she didn't expect to receive it anytime soon.
Yeah, that's what it
Well, if that gear comes in, then we'll have the gear that the guys are wearing now is spare gear.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, good.
And now we did borrow some gear from Canton Township,
Mhm.
so I'm sure
Yeah.
that's an option also.
Okay.
Is this a big guy, medium guy?
Actually, Tyler's lost a lot of weight. He used to be a little bigger than me, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
about my height, and he's lost a ton.
Now it's a thinny.
He's thin now.
Good.
He's tall and thin.
Good.
Not quite as tall as Dave.
Okay, old equipment.
So we got some air packs, some old fire hose that's expired, and things of that nature that are laying around the station that we need to just clean up and get rid of. Now, I
Okay.
know the village wants some of the old fire hose for whatever reason.
Okay.
The 2.5-inch fire hose, they want a few sections of that.
Is this something that there is a firefighter recycling organization that we can donate or give this stuff to, or do you typically put it in the dumpster?
Typically, we throw it away because.
Okay. It's beyond its time.
Yes, it's beyond its time.
All right, is it enough that we need to order a dumpster for the fire station, or is it not that much? Can we bring it out here and put it in our township dumpster?
We could probably do that a little bit at a time.
Okay.
It's not a terribly large amount.
Okay.
Stuff that-
Gotcha.
Assistant Chief Ruskin, do you have any numbers on air packs or all? Because the trustees can make a resolution to deem it trash it officially, or do you have those numbers? If you don't, sometimes they can make an official resolution, then
Get rid of it all.
then get rid of everything that you're talking about, because we go off of inventory too, any inventory list.
So maybe by the next meeting, they can just bring a list and we can,
If you get the list to me, if you make a resolution to deem it, if disposable, dispose it, and then they could get the list to me, and I could just put it in the resolution with your permission.
what about the hoser given to the village? Do we need to do something different with that?
However you want to do it.
I can get
Are
together a list and email it, like
Okay.
what exactly we have on hand.
Yeah, are these items gonna have an Osnaburg Fire Department tag and item number on them?
Most of them will have a
Okay, they'll have an item number. Yeah, okay.
identification, inventory.
So would you rather us make a motion now to get moving, or do you want us to wait till next?
I would make the motion, and then I can fill it in.
All right.
Because that way you guys can get it moving and get things going.
Okay,
All right?
Trustee Varian makes a motion to dispose of outdated and expired gear per the decision of Chief Parker and Assistant Chief Ruskin. The email list will be sent to Fiscal Officer Larry to be able to update inventory.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor? Great. Moving right along. Tire for 255. It looks like I got a bill in front of me here. We had a blowout on one of the ambulances.
255.
Looks like the total invoice here is that right? $350 even? Oh, how'd that work out? All right, it's $350 even. This is through Ziegler Tire. On a side note to this, Stu and I have talked. There's a couple extra rims and tires up at the fire station. I think the township guys are going to come up and grab those from you, and then we'll probably break the old tires off the rims, and we're going to hang on to those rims until we know the load patterns don't fit. Maybe make a spare out of one. We're just afraid to get rid of dually wheels, and 2 ambulances have them. So
Was the ambulance on the road when this happened?
yeah, it was out in service. I believe they were running around picking up stuff for
They
them.
were in the airport.
They were running around picking up stuff. They were running around picking up that box. They were running around picking up stuff for the airport. But they were out in it, yeah.
But it wasn't on a call.
It wasn't on a call. It wasn't on a call.
Was it just sitting or was they driving?
They were moving, they were driving out of the parking lot.
Yeah, it caught-
I just wondered because I had a tire that blew out just
Just
sitting about a
sitting
week
still.
ago.
Oh, wow.
With its heats up and down so bad.
Yeah. So it looks like there was a service call here. Ziegler came out, did the service call, pulled it off, put a new one on, and they're back on the road. Trustee Varian moved to pay Ziegler Tire $350 for a blowout tire on 255.
Trustee Theroux, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, ESO switch.
Okay, we're switching to ESO. Cleveland Clinic is paying for the EMS side of ESO. We still need a reporting software for the fire side. We would like this for ESO to take care of our fire side too, but that would come at a cost to us.
What does this software connect to? The hospital, or where are you connecting it?
So we'll have our tablets. It's a web-based program. ESO is a web-based program.
Okay.
And then when we do our state reporting, the state of Ohio can pull our EMS runs, our fire runs right out
Of your
of
software?
ESO.
Okay,
And our billing company can also
okay.
access ESO.
And who was we using before that?
IMS.
Okay.
This is basically taking the place of the IMS.
That is correct, sir. It's taking the place of the IMS. Now, again, the Cleveland Clinic's going to pick up the cost for the EMS side. Our initial cost for the fire side is going to be $1,295 And Chief Parker thinks that cost will go down over time. And we're paying approximately $1,200 for IMS now.
Okay.
So it'll be a small increase initially.
So this shows $595 for fire setup and online training in addition to the $1,295. Are you asking for the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, which would be $1,890.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion that we approve it for $1,890 to ESO Solutions.
Trustee Pierce, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anything else for fire?
Yes, would anybody happen to have a key, a master key for the station that
We talked about this.
does not say do not duplicate?
We talked about this.
We don't have
We-
one.
We don't have one here. Okay. I have a key, and I need to look at it, see if it says do not duplicate on it. Do we need to call a locksmith and have them come out and make us a key that says do not duplicate on it? Is that kind of where we are?
Well, we probably need to account for where the keys are, because you have to sign out of it. The, at one point, there was at least 18 keys.
I
Should have
did not
been.
know that.
Well, we had 18 employees.
Send that back to
There should be
I
a
never
ma-
had,
should have been
a- I never had a
master
list
There
here at the
wasn't
fiscal
issued.
office on who
somewhere,
all
too,
had
'cause
keys.
people's masters.
We only had one key
One
here.
key,
Yeah.
One
it's on
key.
my box.
That was the only key we ever had here.
Okay.
The firehouse, fire department always had their own list of keys that went out.
Oh, okay.
But the key we had, I don't think it's a master, it just says don't duplicate. It's just one key that was here. Now, for our staff here at this location, we have a master and have all that,
Okay.
but that's all documented here. I don't have a list like what, for you guys.
Right.
But we always had a key, like the previous road superintendent had a key if they had to get up there in an emergency or something happened. One of you, you guys were out on call and they had to get up there. They had a key to get in, whether that's a master or not, I don't know.
So I assume it's typical practice when someone's hired, as part of their hiring in, they're given a key to the station. So
Correct.
obviously if they come on shift and they're following someone that's not there, if you're following someone's shift and someone's already there, the building's unlocked. But if it's locked up, they've got to go get it. So everyone gets a key, I assume.
It says do not duplicate too.
Okay.
It does say do not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me email Amy and tell Amy that we don't have a list here, and we need to probably do it in a key inventory. Probably just a good thing to do.
And as far as your keysmith, we used that Chapnar who came out before and fixed those locks. And he was very reasonable. It was only like 60, 70 bucks.
What's his name?
Chapnar lock. Chapnar.
Okay.
Yeah, but if we find that we can't account for wherever every one of those keys are, then maybe it's time to change. the
Maybe it's time to
keys.
do a key change.
Yeah, which you're supposed to do every so many
Well,
years.
but
anyway.
we need a master.
Right,
That
you would
way-
get a new
that way-
master for it.
Right, but I mean, that's.
Yeah,
you don't wanna call it
I would
locksmith,
agree with
then
you,
key.
Brenda. I mean, I don't know how many years have people come and gone from that building.
Yeah, we've had a lot of
Have a lot of
turnover here, and that's
turnover.
why I'm kind
Yeah,
of thinking maybe
yeah.
we just need to
Maybe
start
it's time
over.
for, can I speak to Amy about that and we'll get back to it. I know you probably want your keys,
Yeah.
but I'll stay on it. I'll stay on it with Amy and we'll talk about what that might look like. I want her to tell me, no, that's too much work, or, oh, no, that's a good thing. Let's rekey everything. Okay. Anything else for fire?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion and then we can have a conversation about it. You don't have to second right away, but my motion is to move Tom Ruskin from an interim assistant chief position to assistant chief position. That is my motion, and we can have conversation.
Trustee Pierce, second.
All right.
Yeah, I think he's been doing a great
Doing a
job.
great
so
job.
I don't have any other conversation. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tom, thanks so much for all you're doing. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
We stated Amy that way last meeting. And so again, thank you. I hope you guys had a good turnout for your event. I know I was there for the first hour, had to go to a wedding at the farm. But that was, my kids had a blast. They didn't want to leave. So I think we keep doing that kind of stuff and keep getting people involved in the community so they know that we're there.
Yeah.
I still hear that comment.
How did the tower go? So I was golfing that night. When I came by later, everybody was gone.
It went well. Got
So you
some
must
good
have went
training.
pretty quick then.
Yeah, there was All the staff wasn't there. They were working their other jobs and whatnot,
But they smoked it. They smoked
yeah,
it.
smoked it up.
Smoked the tower and
Did some
Okay.
good-
drug the heavy body up there. Boy, people are heavy when they don't help. You know,
When they're dead weight.
when they're dead weight, man, they're heavy. Drag that thing up there. So yes, thanks for all you're doing. Appreciate it very much. Just real quick again, who was your assist on that? The 2 accidents at the same time? Your assist?
They were approximately an hour and 5 minutes apart.
Okay.
The first one, we had just cleared Alton Hospital
Okay,
when we got toned out for the motorcycle accident on 44,
okay,
just south of Orchard View. I immediately called for a rescue and another medic unit to respond since
Okay.
we were just leaving the hospital.
you were too far away.
So Louisville responded with the rescue. Quad responded with the medic unit.
Okay.
With 3 personnel.
Okay,
I took one of Louisville's medics off their truck and one of Quad's medics off their medic unit, and we transported the motorcyclist
okay,
to the hospital. And we are just getting off of Route 30 at Trump.
Yeah.
Heading back to the first accident scene to drop off those personnel when we got the second accident on 30. So I called for a medic unit and another rescue. Louisville's rescue said that they were just getting ready to leave anyway, so they said they could respond to that accident. And then Sandy Creek
okay.
responded to
Sandy
the
Creek.
medic unit.
Okay, all right.
And
So we had a whole community of folks helping with that. Yeah.
we did.
So you were actually on a run when the first call came in.
Yes, we were.
Wow,
we
you were at
on
the
our way
station.
back.
Yeah, okay,
We were on our way back from a stroke call.
okay, all right.
from the hospital.
Busy.
It was a busy.
Yep.
evening.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, moving along. Cemetery report.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, we're gonna keep moving then. How about the road?
Nothing here.
Stop it.
Well, is there any questions the trustees would like to ask? No, we'll move on.
Go on record and say hallelujah. Salt bin is done. Hallelujah.
It is.
How did it work picking up the scissor lift and getting it back?
Fine.
How long did you have it?
No, only 2 days. So it was only like 184 or something like that versus that 200 and some dollars.
Did Cowboy Miller do our septic tank here?
That's tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
They had
Open
breakdowns.
septic
They had
lids.
2 out of their
Okay.
3 trucks break down.
Oh,
So they asked if they could come today
No, you already.
from
did-
last week.
oh, okay. You found the lids, but they didn't show when you found them. Okay.
You already did the motion for Lepers for that lift.
Okay.
I did one for 240, but like Stu said, they only had it for 2 days, so
So
that
it's
should.
under our, it's under
it's
our motion.
It came out under the motion.
All right, that's just a signature because the motion's already done.
Yes, they are coming tomorrow to pump the tanks.
Okay.
So what are the safety signs we currently have? What do they say? The ones that we currently have?
What do you mean, what safety signs?
I see we're looking at ordering a new sign that says bump.
Yeah, we can do that.
What do we have?
We don't have anything as far as that.
Why thought we
Bumps or
looked
anything.
at signs not that long ago?
What?
Not signs like that.
No,
This is,
no.
we're using our grant money for the $500 to get bump
Yeah.
signs.
Bump signs and some other safety signs. We need another one.
So when you're
for
doing
one of the
culverts like mid-A, you can have.
Yes, now we can put those
So
up.
maybe it should say rough
I might
road
even,
or something.
I might even possibly get 2 magnetized little LED lights that flash it and stick to the post
Okay.
with those bump signs. So,
Something that blinks at night.
yeah, so they can't say they don't see anything.
Okay.
I think they were $88 a piece for the bump signs in orange. You put them in orange if they're only temporary, yellow if they're gonna be permanent, like something that would
Right.
Yeah.
bump there all the time. So,
I thought, don't we have like some road temporarily closed or something like that? Do we have other signs?
Well, we have our road closed, our big ones, but,
Okay,
um,
so you do
we
have
were
other
thinking
signs.
about possibly getting, we have cones out here. They have this bar that has loops on both ends of it. You can set it down over the top of the cones. And then you can set a little sign that says road closed, like when we have a tree go down and there's wires. You know, we can always put the signs up there at both ends of the road for people in between there somewhere flying down the road. Don't know it.
They pull out of the driveway, they know the road's closed, yeah.
We try to put ribbon up at
Yeah.
places like that, the caution, but if you don't have anywhere to tie to, kind of hard to put it up. Something like that, you can put it right up on two cones that says road closed and they're reflective. Quick and easy for people to steal. That's always a chance you take on any of that stuff. Now, these bump signs, we would just have them where we go out, drive the post in the ground back so far from the sites on both sides and have them bolted on there. Good. Like a reflective light, maybe.
Did you get the brakes fixed on Durapatcher? So that problem with brakes, Durapatcher?
No.
Okay.
Not totally.
Okay.
Not so much the brakes, it's the electric.
All right, anything else on the report? Should we move on to the chip and seal bid?
Sure.
I'd like to do some things on, stay on the salt shed if I could.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's on the salt
Before
shed.
we hit that
Yep,
salt shed.
that's fine.
Salt shed, first thing, when Wolf painting, we approved up to $2,000.
Okay.
He came in under 1,628.
Great.
Okay. I have that prepared for tonight. You've already approved it through resolution 22-181, but I have that prepared. When Mr. Wolf was doing the salt shed, he got with Stu. They knew that some measurements up there, they had to get additional sealer.
Okay.
It was 3 buckets more. I have prepared that document. I do need a resolution for that. Your first original 6 buckets was already approved at your last meeting.
Okay. Trustee Varian moves to pay W.L. Tucker Company, Supply Company, an amount of $1,215 even for concrete sealer for the new salt shed.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
One other thing I was up here and I talked to Stu about, we had talked about, and you trustees had talked about, electric to the salt shed, and being Dwayne was trying to finish up and we knew we had to do excavating. I knew I had money in the building side of the site up here to run electric up there.
Mhm.
I called Mr. Chaddock, and with the help of Stu, he was able to come out before they were doing all the excavating work around there and get that done. We ran a 12-2 wire in conduit, 20 inches deep. Stu dug the trench for it, and we got that up there all done just recently. And he had quoted me over $1,200 with labor, but he came in at $1,200. There's a complete list of everything there that he had done
Great.
for us. Right now, if you go up there, Stu has one receptacle up there for use, along with one LED light that shines back inside the.
Looks good.
So I come up here at night and flipped it on just to see it. It like glows like a beacon on that
There's a
hillside.
radio out there, listen to
So-
tunes. Trustee Varian moves to pay Mr. Chaddock $1,200 for electrical work at the salt bin.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Varian,
Yes.
Griffith,
Yes.
and Piro.
Thanks for getting that done before they backfill. That's good. We don't have to tear it all back up again. Thank you. anything more for the salt shed?
I think that's it.
All right, good. Okay, let's move on to the 2020 Chip and Seal Road Project. Mr. Larry had this on our table when we walked in. I don't think it was in the mailbox. It was just at the desk. So I might have to search for it a little bit. So, Fiscal Officer Larry, how many bids came in for this?
We only received one bid from 2020
Okay,
Enterprises.
okay. No one else called and asked any questions?
There was Builders Exchange calls. That's part of a, it's like a trade magazine that advertises for the whole state of
Okay.
Indiana and around the area. They always keep track of any bids. They wanted to know who was awarded the bid, all those kind of things, because they see that in our public notice that went out.
Okay.
So they've been calling for the last 30 days, wanting that information. They're calling, emailing. So whenever the results of tonight go in, then I notify them that it was
Okay.
awarded and what you awarded.
What's the total money we have to
Now-
work with?
Say again. for-
What's the total money we have to work with?
It depends. We have in the 2141 fund, there's $226,950.
Okay. 226.
We have available in the 2021 fund, 30,000 that's in other things and 25,000 that would go to a capital fund for equipment in the road department. Those two combined is 55,000. I know there was discussion on a mini, so I kept those funds separated, that if any decision was to be made, if we were able to do that this year, that money would be available.
Okay.
But if not, that normally some of that money would go into the capital fund for the mini at the end of this year.
Well, even at that, we still don't have enough. That's only 281,000.
Well, to do the total thing.
To do the total,
To do the total, what's.
We're talking
came
about
in.
dropping a couple roads if
Yeah.
we're gonna do a mini.
And you have that opportunity, but I didn't know, trustees, if we were able, that many, as fiscal officer, not knowing if we were able to pull that off in the 2022 year.
Right.
If we couldn't, we could utilize that money and then set that money aside in the budget I write for 2023, if you like.
Mr. Onkefer, if you had to lose two roads on this list, what would they be?
So Sindel and Evening Star. They're closest back here towards somewhat center of the township for when I start next year. Probably hitting Walters on Broadway and then out to Pekin and out to Argyle.
26, 22.
That's
And I know, Mr. Pirro, we talked with in the past about parks and you talked about a conglomerate with some other,
Right.
Townships around us.
We're working on it.
yeah. I wouldn't want to do parks and then something happens that we can work together on something.
I heard through the grapevine that Parks was gonna be shipped and sealed this year.
By who?
Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Our section, the one we're talking about the bid for, is a different section.
Them's, I don't
Michelle
know.
inside.
It's
Yeah,
on
Michelle
Michelle
inside.
inside
Okay,
that they're doing Parks,
okay.
shipping and sealing.
All right. So Sindel and Evening Star are the ones I've got bracketed. Parks I've got bracketed. I guess maybe the question, we need to have that hard question of, are we talking about a mini this year? Do we need to drop roads to make that happen? Or do we need to keep hitting our road projects so we're not behind?
I think we need to look at the availability of it first and what the cost is for one. Is it more conducive to buy one this year or to wait? Or do we even have a price on one?
We do.
It was
Somewhat
about
close, yeah.
49,000 somewhere in there.
The price that we had though, on the one that we had, I think I have over there on my desk, is only for a 25 horse and I don't want a 25 horse.
What do we have now?
33 horse. That's what you'd want in that E35.
Okay.
It's about, I think, $4,000 more or something like that.
Okay.
So I think we need to find out, do they have those on their lot?
It's a little, no. It would take probably 6 months, Even if you would order one right now, it'd take probably 6 months. If you go one size up to an E42, it'd take a year and a half.
Okay.
And I'd really rather just stay with what the size we have. You go up to that E42, it'll fit on the trailer and the trailer will handle it,
But you'll push your truck around.
well, it's a bigger machine, longer booms on it. It's a little you're choked up harder trying to stay on one side of the road and clean ditches out without having to get away from traffic all the time.
Okay.
It makes it really tough on a lot of roads.
Right.
And not safe.
How's the rebuilt cylinder working?
I think it's working great so far.
Plastic. Fiscal officer, on the money side of things, would you like us to see us put some money back for a mini or get these roads done? What would be your opinion on this, on the
Well,
financial side?
I, out of respect of trustees and Stu wanting to get to many, and if I'm doing my math, I'm figuring if we can utilize some of that money that's in that other fund, my 2021 fund, that 55,000, say like, for example, use 30,000 of that, that would give us 256,000, but I wouldn't have to use all of it, but you could take just 2 roads off, Evening Star and Sindel, for example, of the whole road program. And we would have plenty of money to do it and have an extra 10 left.
Those two right there would be 49,444.85.
We could add on the money that's in the 2021 fund, the 25,000's there, and I could add 10 to that, gives you 35,000 to go into the new year, to go either in a capital fund for a piece of new road equipment or just set aside for that many along with.
Set some money aside and then start doing our research on it,
Yes,
figuring out times. and
because
dates.
then you could do your road project minus 2 roads this year. You would still leave you about I'm looking at $35,000 that could be sitting there to go into a piece of equipment capital fund that we have already established that's separate from the road truck, because the road truck is in another capital fund.
Okay.
We could then give us time on the mini, because I'm assuming hopefully we can sell the old mini. I can have that money, whatever we would get for that, certified and then appropriated and add it to that 35,000
And then you'll be pretty darn close.
to give you 55,000 or so dollars
Okay.
to make it happen, the mini happen in the 2023 budget.
All right, if we do that, is Sindel and Evening Star going to be able to last another year without being touched? Sindel and Evening, if we go ahead with that plan,
Right,
Is
and
Sindel and
they're
Evening Star
probably my
gonna be
better
okay?
roads right now that doesn't need a lot of attention,
okay,
like some of these other ones.
okay.
I don't know why we would pay $28,000 to do a road when we can get it to this grant.
But if you already got them gonna do parks, that's all I'm saying.
I
If they're not-
talked
if
to
they're gonna
Paris
do their
Township
road.
last week and they're still working on it,
Who,
so. Paris Township.
Paris Township?
Well, let me ask
I'm not
you.
saying that ain't happening, but
Who told you that?
I can't say.
I can't say on
Well, then you
record.
ain't got nobody.
Yeah, I guess.
Trustee Pirro, if you don't have something now, how are we gonna get our
How's
road
it gonna be
project
ready?
done now?
It's not gonna happen this year.
But if they are doing it, would Nimishillen go redo their road next year? Right over top?
You don't
of
even
it?
have, you can't prove that that's true. You're telling me an anonymous person.
Well, as trustee, can I ask you, do you know for a fact that they're all aboard to do this right now? Because we would need to know that so we could make a good decision tonight.
Paris Township is 100% on board. I have to talk to Nimishillen again, but I talked to Paris Township last week. They're on board.
So educate me a little bit. This is a
This has been
grant.
done before.
This is a grant to go together on a road because the same road is shared by 3 entities. Is that the idea?
That's correct.
Okay.
And
Well,
Nimishillen.
all right, another question I'd like to ask.
Gets the best of the pie because they have a mile of that
When we
road.
do this grant thing, does that mean it has to go the whole way through? all of Parks, all of our road, all of their road to be in that grant? That's all I'm wanting to know.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm just saying,
It's a
like
three-
Nimishillen, are they maybe only doing a certain
It
portion?
doesn't necessarily have to have Nimishillen in it. It just, the more you add in, the easier it gets to get it approved. It moves it along.
So you're saying it could be Osnaburg.
It could be just
Osnaburg
Osnaburg
and
and
Paris,
Paris.
and they'd still do it, but
Right.
it's sweeter pie if.
Right, the
There's
more
more
you can
people.
get involved, the more it
Okay.
moves along.
Well, let me ask you this question. If we would leave those 3 roads out and say to Art, I mean, obviously, he's not gonna be hauling his stuff all over the township, I get that. But when
Is
he
it
gets to the-
lots too? I
What's
thought
that?
Parks and Stuckey, I thought.
Monts and Stuckey?
What are
Which
you
3
asking?
roads are you talking about?
No.
You're talking about just leaving Stuckey off.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm talking about if we left Parks off, could we go back to Art at the very end of this run and say, hey, we haven't heard from Paris, we need Parks done? Or no? Or is he already left that area? Does that make sense?
I don't know. I don't know where he's going after us.
Okay. I was just curious. I mean, you could leave it off and see how it goes in the next couple months and see what
But now
transpires.
next year, if that doesn't fall through or we don't do
Well,
that,
he's not coming till when? The end of August?
middle of August.
Art? Okay, 2020.
If-
Okay.
And so Randy will have an answer by then of if we're gonna go for this grant or not. So let's just,
We're going. I mean, it's not approved. I'm not gonna say it's approved, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna be pursued. It's being pursued.
so we can approve.
But I thought this was gonna be a grant between Paris, us, and NIMS if you were gonna do that. That's why I thought, that's how it was done last time. I didn't know it was just being 2
I'm
of
gonna
us.
make a call to Nimishillen tomorrow, but I know Paris Township is 100% on board.
Okay.
I spoke to him last week.
But we don't have to decide that right now. We can say we're gonna leave off Sundown and Evening Star, and we can approve everything, but we can say at this time, Parks, we're not sure if we're gonna do Parks or not.
You're kind of messing up your road guy or your 2020 guy, because it's messing him up more.
I mean, does he
And if
have to
this
do it
doesn't
right
go
now?
through next year, now you got one road clear out there off to the north. You gotta go way out there to Gerstein Chip.
Where would
I'm
he-
just saying, when can we tell 2020 we wanna do that?
I'd have to be here. I need to let him know here pretty soon.
Right, we're gonna tell him we're doing everything, but if we have one road we're not sure about, usually we have some time to go back and say, a couple weeks to go back and say, yeah, we're gonna do it, no, we're not.
Right, but you don't wanna wait till the last minute when he's ready
Why
to
don't we
roll
just
in there.
approve it without it? I'm sure he would be more than happy to add
Add
it
it.
in
Yeah,
next
you can
meeting
add
if
it.
we wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's
So
fine.
when you get this list, I'm looking through here to see if it's in alphabetical order. It's not. I'm looking through to see when you get this list of roads, is this the roads he's going to do in order? Does he look at the map and say, all right, I'll do Duble, then I'll go to Sam Crable, then I'll go to Hill?
Yeah, they go from
This
one
is-
to the next to the next. They don't
So
bounce them back and
no,
forth
I get it,
all over the
but
place.
I get it. But when we approve this, does he start at Duble? Or not necessarily?
No, I don't know how he's gonna wanna start.
Okay.
He looks at that map and does it according to how he
Okay.
wants to do it.
Okay.
So he isn't
So
jumping all over the place.
these roads in the order that they're in isn't necessarily the
No.
order of what he's going to do. Okay, that's
Because
fine.
if you bounce back and forth like crazy and tell him, go here and go there and leave a road out here and there, you're gonna get more money involved in hauling stuff around.
Because he can run over his bid up to a certain percentage.
He's allowed to.
Yeah.
He has in the past come in under bid, but I had asked previously that question, and because of the way the economy and things are, he don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. All right.
Trustee Pirro, do you know if the grant that you are adamant about with Paris, has anyone drawn paperwork up on that? Because that has to be submitted in an ample amount of time if you're going to do it next year or if you were able to do it this year. I
It's
didn't
not
know if
gonna happen
anybody's
this
drawn
year.
paperwork or any numbers up yet.
It's not gonna happen this year. I can tell you that right now.
Who's that grant process go through? Do you know?
We did it the last time, until the road was done last.
Yeah, I just don't remember who the grantor was.
I don't know. They are the ones that are pursuing that side of it so far.
And you said Art was gonna start in end of August?
Around the middle. He usually is here around the first
So if we
or
approve,
second week, but he
so
said
if we
probably
approve this
around the
tonight, we're gonna
15th.
see him in a month. We're gonna see him in 4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
I would leave it off, and then next meeting, if we don't have something, then add it back on. He's not gonna say he's not gonna do a road, why would
No.
Yeah, that's 30 grand.
he? Right,
He's gonna say, heck yeah.
Yeah,
but it's easier to add it on than take it off. Once you approve it on, it's on.
but are you gonna make up your mind with or without it, so I know we have enough money? Because I need to know that.
I think if we decide right now to leave Sindel and Evening Star off, and Parks is our question mark, then we should be all right. Is that correct?
Yeah, you would have, that'd be 245,533.26.
Okay.
And if I use part of that $30,000.
Part of that, yeah. Yep.
I can make that work, and if you take it off, then that would be 28,227 off. I wouldn't have to use that 30,000. But just so you know, when I make up the purchase order for that, if you approve that way, I will tie that up, and then I will have to erase it, close that out to free that money up. That money then will be back in that fund to make it back to 55,000, that 2021 fund that I wrote down.
Okay.
So when we're talking about a grant, this is a good example of the District 19 grant that's laying here, application. The application opened July 1st, just this July 1st. The selection, the deadline to submit is February. So they give you time to get your stuff together. So we're talking what? 6 months,
Yeah.
10, whatever.
8 months.
And then they you're told you're awarded July 1st of next year.
Whole year.
And then you have probably the full year to get the project done.
Gotcha.
So we're actually talking,
It could be 2
could be a 2-year thing
Okay.
to get it actually done.
Well, if we leave Sindel and Evening Star off right now, and we approve everything but Parks, and call Art and say, all the roads are approved but Parks, we're waiting to hear about a grant, in 2 weeks we'll make a decision, and we go ahead and make that decision before he starts, so we don't want to be calling him in the middle of the project and saying, hey, I don't know, add a road, delete a road, we get that. But if Mr. Piro wants to do a little research and kind of see where we are on that, I mean, $28,000 is $28,000. So, I mean, I guess it's worth taking a look at, right?
But we still pay a part, it's a match.
Yeah, you don't
It's not a
we
total.
don't get a full 28,000 on that. We get a partial of that, and it
Okay.
depends how big the project is. We get a
Okay.
percentage of that. And I can't answer that exact percentage, but like if that road is 28,000 and Paris's is 28 or 30, and for example, Nimishillin's was about 160 when they did it because they had a mile of it.
Okay.
That makes the pot bigger for the request for the grant. Then the shares of that grant.
And it's percentage.
Yeah,
Sure, it's
percentage wise
percentage.
gets spread out. So we
Right.
might have, on a 28,000, we might have got $21,000 value out of it,
Got
for example.
Okay.
It just depends how big the pie is. The more road people like Nemeshillen, because Parks runs through there, the more you have, the bigger piece of the percentage we can get. But if it's Paris and just us, I don't know how that math would work out.
Stu, who's on the road plan for next year? I mean, are we a smaller mileage total or?
We always average somewhere around in the 12 to 13 miles.
Okay.
10, 12.
We haven't
Sometimes
cycled
13.
through yet, so these allotments that we've done, the micro.
Micro sealing's they're supposed to be here in the next week or so.
But those roads won't cycle up when they normally do.
No, they shouldn't as long as they hold together like they're supposed to.
So
But we have Valhalla allotment and we have Sunlight and Goshen that needs to have, we need to go in there and level them back up like we did all the other allotments.
So-
And then micro seal them down the road. But that's just two,
So looking at your length alone,
we've got most of it after we get this done here in the next week or so. The other allotment, we won't have that
I'm just
much.
looking to see, because Sindel and Evening Star are both fairly, they're over a mile each.
Yeah.
How's that gonna be if we add them on the next year? We're gonna really be pushing the mileage next year?
Well, if you said it's
Well,
12 to 13.
It doesn't matter how,
If you said
depending on
it's,
what you knock off this year, we're still only probably gonna be able to do about roughly 10 to 12 miles.
but Stu, if you said you do 12 to 13 miles a year, we're at 15, almost 15 and a half. You knock off Sindel and Evening Star, that's 2.49. You're at 13 miles.
We
You're
didn't
still
do
at
it,
your number.
we didn't do any a year.
Yeah,
So
last
We was
year-
down for a whole year and didn't do any chipping and sealing.
We only chip and seal, didn't we?
Because we did all that
We did
blacktopping and all that micro seal. Took all
I see
the,
what you're saying.
And that
So
level,
we didn't do any chips.
and yes.
I just
The
wanna make sure
blacktopping was
we're
the
not
leveling, yes.
backing so much up into next year.
Right.
Because even if we do get the grant, then on parks, we're still gonna have to have money for parks, just not as much. But right now, we don't really have enough to do Evening Star and Sindel
No, financially,
financially.
right.
So we're gonna have to pull them anyway.
Yeah.
So let's just pull them off the plan.
Yeah.
And then if you wanna pull off parks and tell them we may put parks back on in 2 weeks.
Trustees,
That
let me
seems to
make
be
sure
where
I
we're at.
understand what you're saying. If you pull, I'm gonna go by number 15 is Sindel and number 16 is Evening Star. You pull them two off, the dollar amount's 245, 433. You then saying to approve to pull Sand Crable off now, or not Sand
Parks.
Crable, I mean Parks off now. So, because now you drop 28,227 off that 245.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what we're saying.
Because then you would have to come back with a resolution if you were to put it back on, for example. Or are you saying approve the 245 with number 15 Sindel and 16 off, and then take parks off just once you find out?
Right, all I gotta do is call and tell them, hey,
We're
we're
not
dropping.
gonna do that. And that
Oh,
would make
you're
it-
saying keep it in the resolution.
Keep it in the rotation to do them all. And if we have to, I just call him up and say, hey, we're dropping that road. But the way you're doing, he's saying you're gonna have to go back and make a resolution to put it back in there after you went and took it out.
I
That's
want to
fine.
put the money in there so it's there, the 245, 433, 26. If you take parks off, that's going to save us 28,227. That money goes right back into that fund.
Mhm.
You follow me? It's
Yeah,
easier
that's fine.
because then the purchase order and everything that matches, but then you say, I want to take it off. So basically it's going to be less.
That's fine.
Okay?
Because if we don't do parks, then maybe we can have that for some of that leveling on some of those other lots.
If Trustee Puro has that Paris and we can get them, Michelle, if they're available to do it and you can get it, I would think that if 2020 was awarded that,
They're gonna do it anyway.
they're gonna do it anyhow because they're gonna
Yeah.
run the whole road. It's worth them to go up and do the whole thing.
I mean, as long as you guys have a good relationship with Art, I mean, what you're saying is we're gonna put parks in, we're gonna make a resolution on it, and then you're saying, we'll just drop it. I mean, in the world that we live in, we're gonna be liable for that because we made a resolution for it, because we told him. You see what I'm saying? If he's a good guy and says, I'll drop it, no big deal. You know, we're going against it.
You guys are technically dropping Sindel and Evening Star off of his bid anyhow.
Right.
Okay? Because that is in our bid package that you trustees have that option to do that.
Okay.
So you can
Yeah,
drop it.
it is in our bid package we
Yeah.
can drop.
All right, what do you guys want to do? Let's move on it.
I'm gonna say that we drop Sindel and Evening Star off and approve what's left and review parks in 2 weeks.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Trustee Varian, second. All those in favor? Okay, sounds good. Thanks for getting all that together, you guys. I know it's a lot of work.
The dollar amount that I'm going to tie up is $245,433.26.
You're gonna take that 226, 900 and put some of that 30 with it. You're gonna take that, put some of that 30.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
To make 245, that will pull that off.
Okay,
And then if Parks comes off, that money goes right back into that fund.
okay,
Okay?
sounds good. Mr. Pierce, you have something?
Yeah, Stu, what have you found out about that culvert on Parks that's plugged?
You mean down by the overpass, you mean the railroad overpass?
Yeah.
I haven't even been down there to try to do anything with that thing yet.
What are you gonna do if you have to change it? We don't want to chip and seal it and have to change it after that.
Them, I don't know how they put them pipes in there. They must have dug them in and put them right in alongside that wall.
Wow.
That's the only thing I can think of, because
Regardless, something has to be done before it's chip and seal.
unless we could get the county to come out there at the back truck, try to suck them things out.
Yeah, you had said you was gonna check on that.
I can give Mike a call about that and see.
Or have the fire department try and blow it out.
I don't know, that's a long stretch, and that's probably really plugged with that dirt. It's hard to say, you know, but I know they could probably try to hit that from both ends.
Try to back it out,
Yeah, I mean, these trucks they got nowadays, they're really powerful.
tear them off.
Because it used to be we had to have it clean out every 80 feet. Now, talking to Tom Grunder, now it's 180 feet.
Oh, wow.
It must be really strong.
Yeah.
And I was,
You got
That
the
would be-
vac truck guy contact? You got the contact for the
well,
vac
yeah,
truck?
I'll call and talk to Mike and them guys.
All right.
Because I called him here back a while ago when we cleaned out Pekin. Cause that big, long, wide intersection there going off of Orchardview onto Pekin, that whole pipe was plugged. And I don't know if they've come out there yet. They came out and cleaned the ditches and found the other end of it and everything. And he said they were gonna bring the vac truck out there and try to suck that whole thing out and get it opened back up for us. So I just haven't had the time to stop in there quick and look and see if they really tried to unplug it.
Well, like I said.
But I'll call Mike.
If you get into it and find out that the culvert's bad, it's gonna have to be done here before art goes through, because
Right.
it's pulling in there in the winter, and we're gonna have an
You
accident.
know, and that's another thing. I don't know what that is. If that's galvanized, it was underneath there, or plastic. I
It
gotta
ain't
go down.
plastic,
Huh?
it ain't plastic,
Ain't
I think
plastic?
it's galvanized.
Okay.
That's what concerns me, is that there's a high probability it's gonna need dug out.
Let's get the vac guy out and see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, if we can
So,
open, we can open it, but it's old.
Well, I'm sure I gotta go out there with the mini again too, and I dozed all that dirt down to where the catch basin was and brought it down along the walls to the north there, and then scooped it all up and hauled it away, because, you know, everything just keeps kind of filling in down around there, coming out of the driveways and stuff. But I'll try to give Mike a call tomorrow and see if we can get them out there to help us with that, and see if they could back that out.
That would be the best.
Yeah, because they could suck them well, there ain't a catch basin on the east side, but there is one on your,
I think the east is full. and gonna-
it's open. That other one is a catch basin there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
seen that one. Yeah, that's the one we need to take the lid off and try to suck back it out.
All right, we have anything else for the road? Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Lauer, am I forgetting anything?
your excavating project.
Oh, yes.
Andy?
Andy Parker came out and looked the situation over
Tell them what it's all about, so you don't go with that word.
for the bank behind the salt shed there, to push that back and straighten the ditch out. And
Over to the drain.
Over,
It's
yeah,
actually
over-
a big area.
yeah, it's a
Very
big area there behind that needs kind of straightened out. It was always at an angle there, from the front of our salt bin now to the back. I walked with Cliff up there tonight and looked at it.
He's gonna do with this dozer, whole project.
Dozer and Traco
Okay.
for the 24.
So what was the quote on that, you know?
2,400.
2,400. Is fiscal officer Larry, is there money left in the salt shed project for that?
I'm getting.
Sorry, buddy.
That's something we can't do. We don't have the capability of doing that.
Not that much dirt.
Trustees, I don't know if you looked at it, but up there going across the back, there is a drain that goes over to our run that goes off to the east side of this
Down
Our
building.
property, yes.
And that's the problem, that water needs to go that way, or share, I think Stu mentioned that it should all go that way. instead of
Yeah, you
coming
don't
down
want to
here
go on this
behind
other way and down towards the neighbors.
it.
In my opinion, this is a salt shed expense. You know, I mean, it's right there. It's due to putting the salt shed in.
It would be better. That way we're safe too, to try to mow everything like we haven't been able to go around in there and mow like we want
Because the
to.
hill's too steep.
It's too steep and it's uneven. It's washed away
So
and
he's gonna
stuff.
cut that back and
Yeah.
make it gradual and grow, and I want to grow grass on it.
Yeah, but maybe spread rye on there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Randy, put rye on there, you're gonna come in really fast.
To answer the question
Yeah.
about the funds available, there's two ways that I can look at this. When the original bid for the salt shed came in, I'm just trying to find my sheet here on that. It was at $161,765 was one purchase order. The whole thing was 163. When I do ever receive a bill, I'm taking $10,500 off of that. I know that when I do receive the balance to see what happens, that 10,500 will become available, or I'll make available to use for other projects around here.
Okay.
But on the other hand, I do have about $2,500 left in the on-site that I've had originally 5,000 in to do any last minute things that needed done around the salt shed, around this facility on the outside. I still have funds of $3,000 if something would break down internally.
Right.
If we needed that till the end of the year.
Stu, is it safe to say if we get Andy to come out and do this, $2,400, we're about done? with the
Yeah,
salt shed?
because he'll even take that excess dirt from the footers, it's back there,
That pile.
and push that down over there and make the,
He's
finish the
gonna-
ramp up real nice.
He's gonna clean up our trash piles.
Yeah.
And then you guys are gonna start moving the good stuff piles.
Yep.
You're gonna start moving those piles out.
Yep, once we get that sold out of them other two bins, we're gonna be moving stone piles around and get that all opened up, so when the semis come in,
They have all
they can
kinds of
pull
room.
up and back right around up to the compiler
Sounds good.
with no nines or whatever, that limestone all there. Yeah, that's great.
You have the money if you want to do it.
When's the compiler coming?
Haven't called yet about that. That's, now that the bin's totally done, I mean, we should be past all of our curing process as far as the cement goes, I would sure
You
think.
should probably call and tell them we're ready.
Yeah,
Well, after August 1st.
yeah,
They wait for us first.
Well, that's when the new pricing that we.
starts. If you go and buy it before that or start ordering it, it goes on
We want
this
it,
year,
we want it credited to
Yeah.
the 22,
To
23.
23.
The amount that we ordered.
I got it.
You
Okay.
understand?
All right.
So we still have time.
Well, if we have the money to do that, I think we need to get that project finished out. We don't want runoff and we don't want to build this brand new building and then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's
If we
water
can get him in
sitting
here to get that done,
Trustee Varian moves to approve $2,400 to Andy Parker to do some leveling and some grading around the salt shed.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving along. Zoning report.
Since the last meeting, 3 permits have been issued. That lot split, the $20 is still on my desk because I didn't finish the receipt for that yet. So
They've been there. Is that a new issue on the first one on the list, or is that a renewal?
that's new.
Oh, it's new. They hadn't pulled it before that.
That's for a house.
Okay.
We've not heard anything back yet from our consultant. I'll email him, Mary, to say, he's supposed to have been sending me a rough draft, and I haven't received anything, so
Okay.
I'll email him.
Over on Ravenna over here, there was a building put up without permit. I double checked with the county, both the health department and the building department. I know for sure they didn't get a building permit for it. They didn't get a permit from us. The health department said they got a permit for alteration, which appears to be for a new septic tank that went in, which is pretty close to where the building is now. And the building, it seems pretty close to the property line, possibly too close. So I sent them a letter. They got it the next day. And they had a sign for it, so I know they got it. So they haven't contacted me or anything, so I'm gonna contact them again, see what's happening with that. I also reached out to the building department again to see if they were gonna do anything about it as well. But in the letter it said stop building until you receive your permits.
But the building's completed?
Pretty much.
It's just a pole building.
Right now, it's a pole building with no concrete floors. You can see under it, but the walls, the roofs, everything's are on it presently.
And another new one that just came in today, so it's not on the list, over at Georgetown, 12th Street, right at the corner, the triangle piece with the house on it. They called about high grass on that. So I went out, it is about 11 inches, about 24 inches. So I'll contact them back in that mode. And they also mentioned about it being a vacant house and boarded up on a couple of the windows. So
Where's that at?
Georgetown 12, it's
Okay.
pretty much the last one in the
Township.
Yeah.
township.
Yeah.
Do we know that, that camper is back far enough from the setback?
I don't know for sure. I know it's back farther than the house, which the house should be at the setback.
Okay. And had the health department contacted you at all?
Yes, Paige contacted me. She was she was planning on making more of a surprise visit out this time. And she was going to try and push a little bit harder on getting him to fix stuff. Specifically with the septic tank, because he's also told her it doesn't have running water or anything. So,
The house?
mhm.
There's no way that they're living in that house, then they should be without running water.
But
I
I
don't know.
reached out to the prosecutor's office, haven't heard anything back about it, so we'll see what happens.
What's wrong with the septic? The tank's broke?
That was,
There-
what about the trade out of the trailer? Because it's a different trailer.
Mhm.
It is, Amy was correct on that.
Yeah. Well, the trailer, they would have to have
The
proof
camper, I
that
guess.
it's, being pumped out or
No,
something.
yeah, but to me, is there something wrong with the house septic?
Yeah, I'm sure it's failed many years ago.
From what I've heard, the house has been flooded. There's concerns that the septic tank was cracked and stuff. But, I don't think Paige has specifically tested it yet. She mentioned she might do that.
Yeah, I think it's probably a direct outlet to the creek.
Yeah.
Probably.
I wasn't
The
sure.
other
if she's done
camper,
that.
the septic tank had fell off of it and was laying on the ground under it.
They all might have to move into the camper if the house.
Yeah, really. As far as this property goes, I had a gentleman from the township contact me. And he and I texted back and forth to a point in which I just said, come to a meeting. You know, I'm one vote. But his comment was, you know, per this property, there's been multiple calls to the sheriff, people dancing in the street, people out. And his comment is, you know, my kid won't ride his four-wheeler in the backyard because we got to run it with these folks, and they show up in my backyard and they walk through and they're knocking on doors and they're peeking in windows.
Mhm.
So his comment was the sheriff is not fast enough and they don't do anything, and I want police force in Osnaburg. And I said, that's great. That's a lot of work. So that's a big tax levy. So tell your friends if that's what you really want. And so he may come to a meeting. He said he was going to come tonight. I don't see him here, but he and his neighbors are upset that the sheriff doesn't come out in a good order of time and doesn't do anything other than, doesn't have any plan of action. And I explained to him that we're in fact not the law, and he in fact cannot go beating doors
Well,
down.
he has done, the other thing he has to understand is there's more than one sheriff on duty in the county. So with only one person on duty in the township, it's probably not much better than what it is at the sheriff's, because if he's on the other end of town
Yeah, sure.
arresting somebody,
Sure.
he's not gonna be over here.
You're right. Stark County's big.
So if you want multiples, now you really get expensive.
Sure. And he said, so, he had comments of like, well, what if East Canton is all of township? And what if it's, he had a couple questions. I said, you absolutely come and ask and chat. So Norm Clark is his name, and he may show one of these days. So just a heads up, that's a phone call that I received on that one. So
I made sure when I contacted the prosecutor's office to mention about the person in the road and sheriff being out and health department coming out. So
Okay.
that's all in there as well. Over on Swollen, I didn't get a chance to run out. Actually, I did.
Wait, can we back up to that
Mhm.
Indian Run? So back to the camper. I don't know anywhere we allow campers to sit there permanently and not move.
Mhm.
Campers come and sit in people's driveway for a month, and then they leave and go somewhere else.
Right.
Then they
Yeah.
come back.
Right.
I don't know that a camper stays there year round without
Not
ever moving.
typically, no.
Mhm.
Yeah. They are permitted to have it, because they're in the rural residential area. Whereas in the R1 and up, you can't have anything that big.
And as far as a hardship goes, you might want to look up the definition of the hardship, because typically it's a medical reason where you need care from someone who's, just because you have someone you're hiring or trading
Mhm.
doesn't make it a hardship.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that hearing will go. That's up to the BZA, but it may not end up the way he thinks it's going to end up.
I think, I'm sure whoever's notified is probably gonna show up. I would
Mhm.
imagine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would
'Cause
say
somebody's calling already.
Oh, multiple.
Yeah.
if we have that BZA hearing, that would be a night that we'd want to pay maybe an extra expense to have the sheriff here.
Yep.
Because I think we'll have issues.
Well, I don't understand why, he made it sound like, he can just move in the house. Well, why would you stay in the camper if you could just move in the house? There's something,
Something's-
there's a lot of things not going on here we don't know about.
Yeah, there's a lot of fishing.
So, and if the house is that bad, at some point, maybe the house needs to get declared uninhabitable. And that would be the health department.
Mhm.
That could happen when they come out. They did that to a house back behind us about a year ago.
So that would be another question for, so.
While we're on this one, before you go to Swollen, the 3399 Indian Run, that's the one down the street.
Mhm.
Can we do some checking on that?
I thought we did. I found it was bank owned.
I know the owner died.
Okay.
I'm not,
I think it's why we haven't been able to move, because it's tied up in that
Okay.
court
There's
case.
not much house left.
No,
No.
and
It's
I
in
actually
really
saw
bad shape.
someone coming out of it. the
Oh,
other day.
really? Oh, my gosh.
They don't live there. They got in a four side by side and went off
Okay.
up Mapleton Street.
Yeah, 3399 Indian
I think
Run.
it
We
is-
know which one we're talking about. It's the little tiny thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
me and Brenda kind of, they had that zoning like seminar at the beginning of the year. They brought up the land bank and we kind of thought that might be a process we could go with, but I'm not sure how to start with that, but I can
Okay.
check with
Yeah,
Canton
thank you.
Township.
That was the other one that Mr. Clark, when he contacted me, he gave me 3491 and he said next door neighbor,
Mhm.
3399.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be maybe one to let Parkers know about, maybe for the land bank to go that way.
Okay, you've swollen, go ahead.
I was out that way, I couldn't see if the cement got put in, but it looked like there was less cars outside. But I'll double check with them, try and reach out to the neighbor and see if the issue's cleared itself up. Over on Lucy, the truck's still there, but I know when I talked to the health department, they said they are working on it. So they're supposed to give me an update once they figure out what they're doing. The BZA has a hearing scheduled for the 1st. It was for an apartment, putting up, they were going to put up a new garage and put an apartment above that. They talked to the health department, found they got to do a couple other things, so they're going to push that back. But there is another one that contacted me today. They would like to put in residential buildings and over off of Broadway to do Airbnbs. So they're looking at having that on August.
Where on Broadway?
You got Walters, and then you got this driveway that's shared with like 5 houses or so, right there.
Okay.
It's a parcel with 2 ponds on it, about 8.6 acres.
Clear in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want to put up single properties for Airbnb?
They were looking at putting up
A multi?
shipping container houses.
Oh,
A couple of them around the pond.
oh, okay. Gotcha,
Like a cabin.
Mm-hmm.
gotcha.
And how much ground's there?
8.6 acres.
So,
And how does that fit in our zoning?
no, I'm trying to think. Shipping container probably doesn't exist. Our book.
It does not that,
Because
that's
that's
also part of the
'cause that's
hearing
not on a-
to be
not on a
able to
foundation.
put in the houses.
Yeah, it's not on a foundation. They sit on a slab, you pour a slab and.
Zoning Inspector Barker, you're saying the zoning appeals is on August 1st?
Mm-hmm.
So that needs to be advertised.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have anything for it?
No.
Yeah. And he may not turn anything in.
So you don't have to advertise.
That's
'cause you
their
don't-
date if they have something.
Okay.
Yeah,
This is just a tentative date.
yeah. She's supposed to get me the information within the week.
Does the person planning on the shipping containers know that they're going to full septic, full on,
I mentioned to
with
that.
multiple units, probably going to be
I
commercial?
would have to have that tomorrow
Okay.
if you're gonna put it in for
Okay.
August 1st. So it had time to get in the paper and be out there for 10 days.
Okay.
So that's how
And then-
quick it has to happen.
Also get your mailings off to all the,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
so they may not be till September.
Yeah.
Yeah, she called today and she's looking to go forward with it, but she has to give me paperwork, so.
Okay.
But, from what she mentioned, I gotta look into this some more. Shipping container houses was just like permitted in Stark County like this year. It's
Oh.
something new they're just now allowing.
Okay. Is there already a residence on this property?
Mhm.
There is.
It's zoned, 1 or 2 family.
Okay.
So what's on there? Is it a duplex or?
It's just a single family house right now.
And the person asking for the permit does reside in the house?
It's her uncle's property, which he would have to sign off on all the paperwork and everything and come to the hearing.
Yeah, it has to be the property owner.
There's a lot of working parts before this is gonna happen. I got you.
Mhm.
All right.
That's why I think it's probably gonna be September.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna happen.
All right, anything else for zoning?
That's it for right now.
Okay, great, thank you. Nuisance. Okay, old business. Seeing none, let's go to new.
I have something that I just got the email on, so I didn't have it in there. And it's the SCOG which is Stark Council of Government. And I go to, that's one of the committees I attend, but they keep canceling our meeting. And it's because they're working on the formula for the local government fund distribution. And I believe that is, I don't know if they have additional money there, but it comes from, Sheriff Meyer is the chair of the committee, but Chris Nichols from the county is the one that is the head of the committee as far as organization. And he keeps sending an email saying, we're canceling our meeting again for another few weeks. We haven't been able to get our formula tightened up on how we divide up the money. So we fund everything in the county through that committee, which is over there by the water sewer plant in Kent South, the crime lab. This is the monies that fund the crime lab and different things like that.
Okay.
And they actually, it's quite a bit of money that they go through. So they keep canceling it. So hopefully I'll get the date once they do change it. Just so that, you know, we're not missing anything. They just keep canceling it.
All right, new business. Need approval for dollar amount office chairs.
Trustees, you had put me on a little research to see how much these chairs were so we could get a chair for the zoning office and for over here.
Chair is super nice. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
and I was able to get the invoices for what we had these back in 2018. Staples is where we got them through, but they use an outfit that they go out to, and we're still working on them. But the initial price, we can't get the adjustable arms on them, but we found these chairs very similar, but they're $465 plus shipping. Just to give you an example, those were about just almost $400 when we bought these chairs back in 2018. So it is more.
These were 400 piece in 18?
Yeah, in 2018.
It's because they can hold, what is it, up to 500 pounds, Brian, I think?
Yeah, the weight, what I'm getting quotes on is the same thing, the tall and the width, both tall and width size.
Right, just understand, we have people, especially on some of our committees, that need the chair size. And so the reason we went with that size, even though it doesn't fit me at all,
Yeah.
is that
Well,
people are sitting in them that we don't want people to get hurt.
You can match this chair though?
it's matched, I can
Great.
find,
Yeah.
I had Sue on it, and then she gave me the diagrams. The guy's calling me back, but what we're running into is we can't find the exact to
Okay.
make a match. So being if they were over there in the offices,
They're
it'd
not
be
gonna-
okay.
They don't
I
have to
wouldn't
match
see it.
exactly.
So we need approval to get these chairs ordered.
Well, I'm asking for up to 1,000. I'm hoping I'm way
Under
under
that.
that, but
Okay.
I don't know how much.
We were planning on 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Trustee Varian moves to spend up to $1,000 for 2 new office chairs, one being in the fiscal officer office and one being in the zoning inspector's office.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor? Liability insurance for rental items.
This came across with Stu, and when we were renting the Mini. So I asked Stu a lot of questions, and then I called Wendy France from our Atarma. What happens is Stu will periodically, I mean, we had a situation where we rented Mini for a whole month, but Lepos wants to put liability insurance, which adds on $300 to $400 or $500 onto
Right.
that for a month.
Yeah.
In the meantime, like Stu might have to rent, just say a tamper, a saw to make a cut and just run out and get it for a few hours. Well, they want to tack on liability insurance to that bill. So when I called Wendy at Atarma, she asked questions like, what's the highest value to a piece of equipment you may rent? And I used the Mini as an example. I said, replacement maybe 75,000. Not knowing exactly. She said, that's fine. She says, what they do is they make a certification letter that goes to such as Lepo. It puts them in, if we were ever renting equipment, we don't have to pay that additional fee, but we have to update that every year. I asked the cost. She says, well, you wouldn't see a cost to 2023, and it's around $100 to $150 more per year.
Oh, that's cheap.
So, when you weigh out, I know the Mini was a big expense this year, but Stu is using other equipment throughout the year, just hit and miss to go out and do a job real quick. And then it's cheaper, far cheaper, I think, sometimes than buying some of that equipment because you're only using it once or twice. Then maybe you're not using it for a couple of years.
Do you need approval for this, or are you
I
just
would-
gonna get back to us?
I would like to have an approval. I have it in place so he can do it now, but I think you need a formal approval to make it official because it's not going to be billed or on. It's on the policy now, even though we just approved that policy and paid it. It's on there now, but to prove it for the amount, so it's registered as a trustee's approved to have liability insurance for LEPO. It's only for LEPO. It's not,
This is just for what?
yeah, just for LEPO.
Trustee Varian moves to turn in our liability insurance to Lepo rental company so that we can have coverage for all the equipment we rent for the year and not be charged the extra liability insurance through the company.
Trustee Pierce, second.
I was in favor.
Aye.
Electric for Salt has already been done and signed.
I didn't see on here where we were gonna talk about the electrical aggregate and the new,
Yes, we
Yeah.
got that in that email.
I didn't have that put on there just by mistake. But I sent out an email just letting you all know that the updates on electric aggregation, Rep. Mark Hollinger is no longer there at Aspen Energy. And this was a surprise to me. Just 7 days ago, a Mr. J. Sell called and emailed me that Mark was gone and he was our new township rep. I forwarded Mr. Sell my correspondence to you guys all on your Outlook Express so you could look over those correspondence. The goal originally approved by the board was if we got to 0.07 or lower, you gave me permission to lock in. Mr. Sell had recommended to wait right now because we were close. It was fluctuating under like 0.0614, but when he went to lock, it was back up to over 7 again. So he thinks that it'll eventually go back down, but I didn't know. I wanted to bring that up to you, and I thank Trustee Griffith for bringing that back up. If you wanted to change anything or just keep it there until we can get it locked.
I think if we've already given Mr. Mark Hollinger the go-ahead and Mr. J. Sell knows that we're at 0.07, I think we have him lock it when it's available and stick with it rather than go back through and discuss it again because, we spent much time going over it once. I mean, I know the rep has changed.
I saw it on the grid drop down below, well, it was almost below 6, but it fluctuates. It looks like it goes all over the board, that bidding process they do. And it's the key.
Tell
to get
Mr.
it
Sell
locked.
if it's at 6, we want it. All right.
I would have a little concern about the change in the rep. Maybe it's time to look at the change in the company. So that's my only comment. Though we were only gonna lock in for a year,
Yeah, your lock-in time.
because we'll need time to look at that.
Yeah, you made that lock-in time for 1 year, no matter what, at the 0.07.
That's a good idea. Now that we
Because
changed it.
that was one of the reasons you said that we didn't want to go long-term for right now. And I know the rep had a lot to do with us being there. His service and all, not to say that this Mr. Sell won't, but there's probably other competitors out there that we might be able to do better for the township.
Okay.
Um,
All right, Dawson. You want to talk on that?
So I will. So we received this letter, evidently we have some property somewhere. It says there's 3.65 gross acres. I don't know. This is the one we talked about before that over off of, is that Swollen or no? It's at bottom of 43.
I remember talking about it, it's not over by me.
No, I forget the name of the road.
What are they trying to do? Drill test?
They're supposedly putting in one of those large Chesapeake wells.
Oh.
Or it's Encino or whatever.
Seismographic deal.
Yeah.
This is a seismographic. It's supposed to be 188 acres.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, now I remember.
Okay,
You talked about that.
yeah, so we talked about they're doing the seismic testing. Evidently, we have some property that is within that distance that they're measuring. So they want to pay you $25 an acre for 3.65 acres to allow seismic testing to take the place on your ground. And I know a lot of people that receive these. At this point, what I've been advising everybody is just to sit on it and not to do anything. Because the amount of money that any of them's receiving is nothing.
Minimal.
Yeah, so it doesn't, if they're really interested in doing this, they need to come back and do a little, instead of just sending a letter, because it doesn't really tell you anything in the letter. But they're asking for us to sign off and they'll pay us a whole, what, $75?
Yeah.
The seismic
About
test.
$83.50, right?
Yeah, I will tell you, I have a concern, and that is that when I don't know if you remember this, American Landfill was trying to use our road right away
Yep.
to add an additional line off of their, And if this public seismic testing goes through, it is possible that they can capture the data and use that as their certifying data for what they want to do. So
Gotcha.
if he was asking for our road right-of-way testing, I would say no. But he's applying to each individual parcel owner to use.
Yeah, he's sending these out of parcel owners.
Oh yeah, he's sent hundreds of these out. So, but anyway, so we have it. If we want to do something with it, we need to leave it with Brian. And if not, then we'll just wait for them to get back in touch with us again. And that's what I would recommend. We just wait for right now.
Okay.
Not do anything.
I have one other thing to add on the other category. I got an email from Amy. I forgot to add this in the fire report. One of the reps that gave us a quote on the ambulance got back and said that they are currently building an ambulance that we could put our name on. It's a 4-wheel drive chassis. I don't know a lot about it. I think the number was something like 268 or 270,000. But the comment was, come by our unit because they're currently building it. Is that right, Tom? Do you know that?
I do have that.
Okay, that's fine. I got a forwarded email. I need to look through it. The email's a little bit vague, so I need to call Andy and see if it's okay if I call the rep and ask some questions. But pretty much the email said, hey, come by our ambulance. It is a 4-wheel drive chassis. It'll be done in 3 months. It's currently being built. You could have your ambulance way quicker than you would get your chassis from Ford. They do already.
And so who's the company?
I'd have to look it up. I can't, don't even remember off the top of my head. Now, obviously, we've ordered a chassis from Ford, and that's in the process. We've paid them nothing at this point. So, if we found something that we felt was a good deal and met our budget and was what we wanted. I think between Amy and Tom and Dan, they had, kind of picked the box that they felt was the best, the company they felt was the best. So I'll look into that as a possibility, but I'd like to stay on course unless it's a really good deal on an ambulance that's already built, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So just want to bring that up. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else for the good of the order?
Nope.
All right.
Perfect. Makes a motion to adjourn and pay bills.
Trustee Pura, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night.
Let's see you, Tom.
See you later, Stu.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, bro. How's it going over there in Louisville? You guys busy or quiet?
Oh, busy.
Busy.